My name is Frank Wasser and I've been working for the Learning Department here, devising and delivering artist-led workshops for the past year.
Does everybody want to come here for a second? You should ask that question out really loud.
I'm interested in a lot of the things that surround what has come to be recognisable as contemporary art. And I tried from very early on not to maybe think about a traditional idea of an artist-led workshop in a museum. What are they doing here? Yeah?
Looking at the art.
Looking at the art, okay. And what else can they do here in this place? Sessions would usually begin with an introduction to what it might mean to research. So I begin the sessions very much like the way I might approach making something myself in the studio. And we research by looking and spending a lot of time looking around the museum and looking at everything except the artworks.
This is white paint, right?
That's pink.
Is this white paint?
Is that white?
Pink.
Pink.
So literally, as a way to research, we've just listed the things that we can see. So everything from rooms, ceiling, doors, chairs, shadows, lifts, table, signs, toilets, cafe, boats. And sometimes because we're moving quite quickly, they might just not write the word and just do a little diagram on the page. So as opposed to kind of a complicated or theoretical approach to research, we begin the sessions by just looking. And now in the afternoon we'll go into the galleries and we'll take some of the approaches that we've established, looking at the building and to looking at some of the artworks in the collection.
Is it a tan bed?
Is it a tan bed? I don't know whether you'd be able to fit in there.
So we go back to the question though. We go back to the question. It's 5 o'clock today. You're describing this to a friend at home. Continue. How do you describe it?
I think 2 tables opening it. One opening up and then the other up and down.
Okay, so tables opening up. I think tables is a good reference point, yeah, because they look like
In
tables.
preparing the workshops, I also spend a lot of time thinking about interesting questions that I might have to prompt certain conversations around what it means to come to an institution and look at a work of art. It's important for me to then think about artworks that might be appropriate to kind of think about in relation to how a museum is configured, and artworks that might take that into consideration.
Doing the same thing that we've been doing all morning and leading up to now. Let's have a look. Wait a minute, we're not going to put up our hands, so let's have a look around the room, okay? Tell me how you would describe this room. What's this stuff here? What you can't... So what can you not do? No...
No pictures, no eating or drinking.
You are allowed photography except no flash.
Okay. So let's talk about that in here, okay?
The ideas that I brought directly from my own practice to the workshops are to focus on conversation and developing a discourse. I think coming from the classroom context, some kids can be quite uncomfortable with the idea of failure, and that's something that I think is, incredibly important to my process, and I think the process of a lot of contemporary artists. So it's important that we talk about the idea of failure and process, and it becomes very visible, particularly with the 2-day workshops. There's a shift from thinking about doing this one thing that they're going to get right to trying to begin to think about doing multiple things, which I think is a positive thing, but also trying to think about how this work that they're making might be received. So trying to think about actually beginning to have a critical conversation. And what I've learned is to kind of to have patience in a way for that conversation, and that it's not necessarily a conversation that I should lead,